His name was Greeble, and in the grand hierarchy of downtown pigeons, he ranked somewhere between day-old pretzel salvager and sidewalk mural target. That would have been fine, if not for the secret he carried in his heart. Greeble knew the park statues were alien spies. Most pigeons contented themselves with crumbs, coos, and cautionary tales about toddlers with bread chunks the size of boulders. But Greeble had read forbidden literature. Specifically, the crumpled tabloid pages that blew in from the newsstand every Wednesday. Headlines like, "Bronze Monuments Receive Cosmic Transmissions," and "Alien Empire Hides in Planetary Decor," confirmed what he'd long suspected. The statues were watching, and they weren't alone. Greeble's first recruit was Barley, an enormous puff-chested veteran with a chipped beak and a swagger that came from surviving 3 seasons under the hot dog cart. Barley listened patiently as Greeble laid out his theory beside the enormous bronze of General Harrington, Revolutionary War hero turned pigeon latrine. "Let me get this straight," Barley said, shifting his weight to evacuate yesterday's popcorn onto the General's tricorn. "You're telling me this sculpted human, made of metal, is actually a space invader? A covert, trans-dimensional sentinel," Greeble corrected. "Receiving data, transmitting coordinates." Barley's eyes narrowed, which, considering pigeon facial architecture, looked mostly like a brief blink. "What about the squirrels? Everyone knows squirrels run the surveillance grid." "That's the decoy," Greeble whispered, "while we blame the fur rats. The statues soak up everything." Barley was sold for one reason only. He badly wanted a meaningful enemy. Pecking children's French fries was rewarding, but it lacked a certain narrative gravitas. So, he vowed to join Greeble's crusade on one condition. They'd need a crew. They recruited 1. Drizzle, a sleek young rock dove who insisted she'd unlocked air traffic calculus and could map any flight pattern like it was origami. 2. Peabody, an aging showbird with a bent tail feather, exiled from an upscale hotel lobby for overenthusiastic decorative pooping. He brought elegance, and more importantly, a monocle he'd stolen from a tourist. 3. Noodle, an excitable squab who'd imprinted on bicycle bells and therefore communicated solely in frantic bing-bing noises, translated by his older sister Drizzle. The 5 pigeons convened on the statue of the poet, a marble figure with a finger lifted skyward, as though requesting cosmic Wi-Fi. Pigeons roosted on him daily, but tonight was different. This was the war room. Barley cleared his throat. Operation Beaky Smokescreen is officially in session. First agenda item, stakeout protocols. Peabody adjusted his monocle. Gentle birds. Covert intelligence indicates that General Harrington, Lady Libertyette, and the poet form a triangulated resonance chamber. If alien transmissions occur, they'll hop along those bronze waves like fleas on a schnauzer. Drizzle tapped the marble with her beak. We'll use Noodle's bicycle bell mimicry as a code. 2 rings means all clear. 3 means incoming laser death. 4 means I've located a half-eaten croissant. Let's try to keep the channel uncluttered. Noodle slammed his wings in excitement. Bing, 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 bing! Greeble eyed the horizon. Human twilight draped the park in purple halogen glow. "Positions, everyone." Phase 1 began. Barley and Drizzle took first watch, atop General Harrington's hat. Peabody and Noodle perched on the ornamental fountain across the path, and Greeble posted himself on the poet's outstretched finger. They were to remain silent, eyes peeled for any sign of intergalactic treachery. Minutes bled into hours. The park lampposts hummed. A jogger thundered by, wearing headphones that leaked 1990s pop. Noodle produced soft bings whenever he spotted half a donut. Peabody shushed him with regal flaps. At precisely 2:07 a.m., the incident occurred. The poet's upraised finger flickered. Greeble felt it, a microscopic twitch beneath his talons. Marble couldn't move. That was the whole point of Marble. Yet something shifted, like a heartbeat skipping beneath stone skin. He squawked the alarm. Red alert! Digital palpitation at Sector Poet! Barley bolted upright, nearly ejecting Drizzle into the bushes. Did he just say, palpitation? Peabody adjusted his monocle dramatically. Gentle birds! This may be the proof The statue's entire hand pivoted a single degree, subtle as a sigh. An unseen actuator hissed, and a circle of pale green light pulsed beneath the fingernail. Noodle binged so hard, his throat wheezed. Greeble launched into a barrel roll. They're activating! Peabody flapped down to Harrington. Formation! Formation! But nothing else moved. The finger returned to immobility. Light extinguished. A stillness hung over the park, thicker than the list of crumbs Greeble hadn't eaten that day. Morning broke. Sunbeams does not lie, Barley liked to say. Yet when the crew gathered beneath the poet, the hand was exactly as sculpted. No hinge seams, no alien ports, no evidence whatsoever. Drizzle analyzed it from 8 angles. Possible microservo disguised as wind erosion, she offered, though her tone lacked conviction. Barley shook his head. We need corroboration. If we go to the flock with a finger twitched, they'll laugh us all the way to the Pigeon lady's umbrella. Greeble paced. Tonight we double down. Cameras, sensors, crumb rations. If the aliens want subtle, we'll give them Pigeon-level scrutiny. Thus began Phase 2. Equipment acquisition. Drizzle snatched a GoPro from a skateboarder's backpack by luring him with feigned injury, foot-dragging, sad coo, heroic limp, until she had him stooping with concern. Meanwhile, Barley swooped in, clipped the zipper tab, and off they flew with the camera dangling like stolen jewels. Peabody liberated a tiny LED flashlight from a toddler's science kit. Noodle provided moral support, which looked like him screaming, "Bing, bing, 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 bing," from a tree until the humans looked the other way. Finally, Greeble claimed the crown jewel, an abandoned smartwatch lying on a picnic blanket. It still glowed with 23% battery, enough, he hoped, to record alien telemetry. They returned to the poet at dusk. Duct tape, also stolen, wrapped around their legs like pirate sashes. Drizzle mounted the GoPro between 2 laurel leaves on the statue's head. Peabody wedged the LED into a nostril, angled for maximum illumination. Noodle taped the smartwatch to the fingertip itself. A hazardous job, but he volunteered with heroic bingings. When park security strolled by, the pigeons froze. 5 gray lumps among countless others, indistinguishable. No one suspects the average pigeon of espionage. That's what Greeble counted on. At midnight, the stakeout resumed. Greeble and Drizzle monitored the smartwatch pulse bar. Peabody perched on a lamppost with the LED's remote switch. A paperclip. Ready. Barley scanned for ground interference, and Noodle hopped from foot to foot, generating caffeine energy from sheer adrenaline. Time plodded. Drizzle performed flight math to stay awake. Peabody lectured on historical coups, inserting himself as eyewitness, despite not existing at the time. Barley practiced martial arts he'd invented. Wing Chun Pigeon against errant moths. Suddenly, the smartwatch vibrated under Greeble's talons. A neon glyph, an alien script, traced across its cracked screen. Software update available. The finger twitched again. Only this time, the entire arm rotated. Mechanical grinding masked by distant traffic. Marble joints separated like puzzle pieces. A small lens emerged from the palm, dilating like a cat's eye under a flashlight. Peabody gasped so hard he swallowed a gnat. Evidence! Live! Undeniable evidence! Greeble shouted. Record! 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 Drizzle slapped the GoPro's button with her wingtip. The lens swiveled, scanning the empty lawn. Then, impossibly, it turned toward the GoPro, as though registering the presence of its watchers. A beam of emerald dots pinged across the camera like a laser pointer tormenting a cat. Barley leapt off the lamppost. Evasive maneuvers! But the statue's systems did not fire death rays. Instead, a calm female voice emanated from the mouth that had never opened. Localization error. Please restore connection to mothership. Awaiting patch. Then the arm folded shut. Once more, inert stone. Silence roared through the park. Noodle dropped to the grass, wings limp. Bing! Barley landed heavily beside him. Nobody moves. Let's make sure we recorded that. They had. The GoPro contained 12 glorious seconds of alien articulation, green lights, and the statue's voice. It was, by far, the greatest scoop in avian history. Greeble trembled with a cocktail of triumph and dread. Tomorrow, he said, we convene the grand flock. The grand flock was less grand than grumpy. 50 pigeons, various shades of gray, coalesced atop the bandshell roof. Many had seen horror in their days. Falcons, kite strings, the time the pretzel machine exploded. But most had never imagined holding a cosmic summit. Greeble took center stage. Barley towered behind like muscle. Peabody flapped the monocle for gravitas. Drizzle cued the GoPro footage by pecking the touchscreen like a woodpecker with a tech internship. Something short-circuited. The video played. Statue hand splits. Lens appears. Voice speaks. The rooftop erupted in coos, whistles, and mild projectile droppings. A skeptical elder named Linty scoffed. Could be CGI. Humans fake moon landings on YouTube. This isn't humans, Greeble countered. Humans built decoys for the agents. Look! He gestured to the still frame of green lights. Does that look like municipal engineering? Another pigeon shouted, maybe it's a tourist attraction. Barley stepped forward. If it's an attraction, why hide the moving bits? They could charge tickets. No. Fellow avians, this is infiltration. Drizzle unveiled her sky math charts, scribbled in dust on a roofing tile. Triangulation shows transmissions bounce between statues at 56-minute intervals, coinciding with the orbit of a certain satellite that is not registered on public frequency lists. Linty rolled his eyes. Or it's pigeons looking for attention. Remember the drone panic of last winter? Greeble's feathers bristled. This is bigger than drones, and everyone knows it. The statues recognized we were documenting. They spoke of a mothership. But for every nodding pigeon, 2 more remained uncertain. Consensus slipped away like stale bread down a sewer grate. Finally, Peabody spread his wings with dignified flair. Let us propose an experiment. Tonight, we expose the alien network to the one force statues fear, publicity. We reveal the moving hand to humans, make them question, make them post pictures. If the aliens react, we have proof. If not, we admit defeat and return to our blissful lives of seed and scorn. A murmur of assent rippled. Even Linty could accept, embarrass the statues as low-risk entertainment. Operation Flashbulb launched. Phase 3 required harnessing humanity's greatest weapon, the smartphone. Drizzle located a group of college students known for filming pranks. Noodle's mission: lure them to the poet at midnight and force a reveal. To accomplish this, he transported the stolen LED flashlight in his claws and did what pigeons never do. Flew straight into a dorm room window. Crash. Bing bing. Flashing LED. Chaos. The pranksters, high on energy drinks and academic denial, chased the disco pigeon to the park. Cameras rolling. Along the path, Barley executed tactical droppings on lampposts to ensure maximum drama lighting. Peabody hissed Shakespearean encouragement from the shadows. Greeble waited atop the poet, heart hammering. Timing, he knew, was the crux. Too early and nothing would happen. Too late, and the students would wander off, giggling about weird birds. Drizzle calculated the next transmission window, 12:56 a.m. At 12:54, the students arrived, breathless. Dude, there he is! That pigeon's glowing! Noodle, LED still blinking in his claws, circled the poet like a feathery UFO. He beeped triumphant bings. The students aimed their phones. Live streams spun up. Thousands of humans might already be tuning in. 12:55. Greeble sent the signal. An urgent coup pitched at 23 kilohertz. Pigeon's secret ultrasonic channel. Drizzle activated the smartwatch patch. Barley positioned at the foot of the statue, ready to peck anything mechanical. 12:56. Nothing. Tension thickened. Noodle hovered. LED flickering like an emergency siren. The students' interest waned. Guess it's just a weird bird, one muttered. Hold, Greeble hissed. 12:57. Still nothing. Barley cursed under his breath. Maybe we spooked them. Maybe. The ground quivered. The poet's marble base split along invisible seams. The entire statue rose 8 inches, levitating as if repulsed by gravity. Light sparked from its feet, painting the grass silver. The students screamed with the glee of viral content. Cameras pointed. Expletives soared. A voice, no longer calm female, but now crisp, mechanical, boomed. Protocol exposure. Secrecy compromised. Uplift sequence engaged. General Harrington's bronze saber glowed blue across the lawn. Lady Libertyette's torch flared with ultraviolet flame. Every statue in the park thrummed to life. Greeble almost forgot to breathe. We did it, he whispered. We forced their hand. Then Lady Libertyette pivoted her torch toward the students. A sizzling hum grew like locusts amplified through loudspeakers. Drizzle shrieked, "They're arming! Humans in danger!" Panic sliced through the flock. Pigeons scattered as fountains erupted with steamy jets. Park lights exploded, showering sparks. The poet's levitating feet angled toward the sky. Commencing ascent, it announced. The statues were about to leave, possibly with a parting thermal blast to erase witnesses. Greeble's mission had never considered collateral damage. He glanced at the terrified humans, the pigeons spinning in disarray. For a second, he wondered whether ignorance might have been a kinder world. But pigeons, though mocked for many things, are creatures of grit. They thrive in endless adversity. Traffic, predators, stale carbohydrate chunks. Today would be no different. "Dive the optics!" Greeble shouted. "Blind them!" Barley needed no further incentive. He rocketed onto Lady Libertyette's face, smothering her glowing torch sensor with his belly. The heat singed his feathers, but the beam faltered, cracking into jagged flickers. Greeble aimed for the poet's eye lens. Drizzle followed. They spun, flapping, pelting the glass with wing beats. Peabody attacked, General Harrington's saber hilt, pooping strategically to gum-exposed gears. A rarely employed but potent tactic. The statues wobbled. Targeting beams hiccuped. Noodle, heroic squab, zipped between them screaming a Morse code of bings that meant retreat, retreat. Too many variables. But Noodle instead wheeled back. LED blazing straight into Harrington's optical sensors, overwhelming them with strobe. The poet flailed midair. Balance compromised. Systems overload. Its marble foot clipped a lamppost, tipping the statue sideways. Cracks spiderwebbed along its robe. Down below, humans captured every frame. Viral gold, yes, but also incontrovertible evidence that would go far beyond fringe tabloids. Greeble punctured the lens with his beak, wires sparking under stone. You will not conquer this park! The poet convulsed, lost altitude, slammed onto the grass with seismic crunch. Lights died. Harrington's saber guttered out. Lady Libertyette's torch fizzed like a broken sparkler. One by one, the statues powered down, frozen mid-chaos. Silence fell, broken only by Noodle's hoarse, awestruck bing! The students, sweaty and pale, stared at their phones. Did that actually just happen? Sirens in the distance signaled incoming authorities. Greeble hopped onto the poet's cracked shoulder. Something inside still pulsed. A faint core of alien circuitry. He could sense it retreating, entering hibernation. For how long? Who knew? Barley limped over. Feathers smoked. We won. Peabody landed. Monocle cracked. A tactical victory, yes! Strategic? Time will tell. Drizzle flapped down, eyes shining. Humans have cameras full of proof. When the world sees, maybe the aliens abandoned covert ops. Greeble surveyed the battlefield, toppled statues, scorch marks, feather debris. Or, he said softly, they escalate elsewhere. But we'll be ready. Morning sunlight bled across the park as police cars screeched to a halt. Officers gawked at the ruined monuments, the throng of babbling students. Above, news choppers circled, filming sculptures that now seemed perfectly ordinary again, albeit in dramatic disrepair. A reporter murmured. Sources claim structural failure, while her cameraman zoomed on Lady Libertyette's torch, still faintly warm. But there, on every live stream, the footage lived. Statues hovering, beams blazing, pigeons attacking in furious flaps. The world would not dismiss this as CGI. Too many angles, too many witnesses. Conspiracy would transform into mainstream debate. Funding might go to urban monument research. The veil had torn. 3 days later, the flock met at the riverside pier, well away from statues. Linty, now a believer, passed around celebratory sesame seed scraps. Greeble addressed them. Our campaign proved 2 points. 1, the enemy is real. 2, we can fight back. But vigilance requires organization. Barley. Barley unfurled a makeshift flag, a napkin bearing a crudely drawn pigeon, and crossed laurel leaves. Henceforth, we are the Parkland Anti-Statue Squadron. Pass for short. Cheers cooed. Drizzle presented a chalk map of the city, marking every statue. Pass will monitor each site. Whenever a transmission spike occurs, we scramble. We share intel with crows, gulls, even squirrels, if they sign our treaty. Peabody, now sporting 2 monocles. He claimed depth perception. Proclaimed, let it be known, birds defend Earth. The youngest pigeons looked at Noodle with awe. He modestly beeped once and pecked a bagel. Greeble felt an unfamiliar warmth. Purpose had replaced paranoia. What began as his lonely obsession was now a movement, a family. Yet responsibility weighed. He knew the aliens would adapt. They always did. He gazed across the river where the skyline gleamed. Dozens, hundreds of statues dotted rooftops and plazas. Soldiers, poets, mythical beasts, each potentially a silent scout, waiting for new orders. Greeble spread his wings as the first breeze of evening ruffled them. Pass! To the skies! They rose together, swirling above the water in a gray cyclone. Below, commuters pointed up, marveling at the storm of pigeons. Most saw only birds chasing twilight. None guessed these were guardians of secrets stranger than fiction. As they climbed, Greeble allowed himself one last glance at the park. The poet still lay collapsed, cordoned by caution tape and scientific tents. Someday, humans might unlock its mysteries. Until then, the pigeons would hold the line. Because in a world where statues could awaken, and aliens masquerade as marble, it took more than marble to protect a city. It took grit, wings, and the unyielding conviction of a pigeon named Greeble, who dared to see beyond crumbs and believed that even the smallest birds could save the world.